So got a video here for Kurt Cobain. Just kind of been watching him over a little bit of time. I didn't really grow up on his music, but just kind of a very interesting, larger than life figure that I thought was somebody to look into. I've always wondered maybe if I could understand a little bit more about why the way he felt the way he felt, or sort of the mystery and sort of uncover the mystery. Again, I'm not a fan. I don't know anything about the guy, but I just thought I'd take a look at him. But a little bit of background that I have here: born in '67 in Washington, Aberdeen, Washington. I think his parents divorced around 75 when he was 8 years old. And at that point in time, I think he said something to the effect, or about that point in time, he said something to the effect of, I remember feeling ashamed for some reason. I was ashamed of my parents, just because at that time, I think it was expected that parents would stay together. Between 79 and 83, he was between the ages of 12 and 16, had some adolescent struggles. By his early teens, his rebellion grew. I mean, that's normal of all teens. Most that I know. He began to express himself through art and music influenced by Led Zeppelin, punk groups, Sex Pistols. He attended Aberdeen High School but dropped out. Became known for his drawings, which classmates found disturbing yet captivating. In '87, he was 20 years old, began the formation of Nirvana. He had the bassist Chris Novoselic, and they formed in '87 in Aberdeen, Washington. Started small gigs and then kind of worked their way up. And his sort of influenced by the punk scene style was sort of raw emotions and anger toward society. I was kind of glossing over some of his work and some of his interviews, and I think I kind of saw that energy. In '89, age 22, and I think he was 27, if I remember. He was 27 when he passed. So things went quick. Released debut album, Bleach. Didn't go mainstream. It garnered a pretty significant following, or a cult following. People that liked him. I won't say significant, but I will say more like a cult following. He later said about it, I wanted to be successful, but I didn't want to be a rock star. I hated the mainstream. Yeah, that's what I was wondering in some of the interviews as well. 91, age 24, Smells Like Teen Spirit, rise to fame. They released the release of Nevermind in September of '91, propelled Nirvana into mainstream success, largely due to the single Smells Like Teen Spirit. Cobain, however, grew increasingly disillusioned with the fame. Like he said, I don't want to be a rock star. I just want to be famous. And he became a rock star, with being labeled as the voice of a generation. Ooh, that's pressure. I don't want to be a spokesperson, he said. I just want to play music. It's too late, Kurt. It's too late. 92 to 93. See, and I'll say that's the problem with when you put yourself on certain platforms and maybe you downplay your gifts or your talents, and those talents are more wildly impactful than you could have ever imagined. This is kind of the danger of doing that. So sometimes you just have to prepare mentally and take the good with the bad. 92 to 93, 24 to 25 to 26, got married, became a father. Then he started started having some addiction struggles. Married Courtney Love in 92, had a daughter, Frances Bean, born in August. This period also marked the beginning of his struggles with addiction, which worsened over time. He once remarked, I'm too much of a moody, erratic person, and I don't have the passion anymore. In 93, he was age 26, in utero, and some health issues emerged. I remember him talking on an MTV interview about that, which I'll cover later. Nirvana's third studio album, In Utero, was released in 93, and presented an even rawer sound, rawer sound, reflecting Cobain's discomfort with fame. And so now he's like, you guys are not listening to me, so I'm going to talk about it. Interesting. Cobain was also dealing with severe stomach pain and worsening addiction, which made performing and touring very challenging. His producer, Steve Albini noted he was the only person I'd ever met who, when he talked about fame, it was with real pain. It's just like in some of the interviews, he didn't like to talk, is what it looked like. Age 27, downward spiral, and ultimately leading to his passing, kind of shading it for YouTube, of course. In March of 94, Cobain was hospitalized in Rome for an overdose, an incident described as an accidental overdose by those close to him on April 5 of 94. He passed by, of course, if not do the history, he passed in Seattle, in his Seattle home. He left a note referencing his struggles and fame and the pressure of public life, ending with, "It's better to burn out than to fade away." His passing marked a devastating moment for fans worldwide. The interesting thing that I did want to say about this, and then I'll get to the video, I was trying to understand more about his kind of personality. And I think the Myers-Briggs personality information that I have here was he was more so introverted, intuitive, feeling, and perceptive. That's INFP, and which is, the personality type is often known as someone who's a mediator or an idealist, often associated with creativity, sensitivity, and strong inner world. Of course, the inner world was the thing that popped out to me the most, because it seemed to be talking about these sort of inner ideas in a way. And like I said, I haven't been extensively over his work, but just kind of skimming through his stuff to get a sense. It looked like he had this other alternate world that he was trying to be a part of. Introverted in terms of Cobain, was deeply introverted, often uncomfortable with the attention that came with fame. He valued his privacy in a small circle of friends. Despite being the face of Nirvana, he's like, yo, you walked right into it, man. Like, you were the face of it. It's like you wanted to be in the back corner, bro. You were the face of it. He struggled with public appearances and interviews. Man, there was this one interview that I saw. It was like not even an interview. It's just he was walking into some sort of a performance. I think around 92, 93 or something like that. And there was this kid. I think it was over in the UK or something like that. I can't remember. But the father came first and was like, "Hey, I think my son is a huge fan." And then the kid came up, and Kurt signed for him. He signed his like happy birthday, whatever, and he signed for him. But like, the kid was like, "Yo, man," the kid came up. He was like, "Yeah, man, I'm a huge fan, blah, 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 this, that, and the third. How you feeling?" And Kurt was like, "Just cool. And the dude kept talking, and Kurt just, and I'm not criticizing, like my job here is not to criticize, but the dude was talking, little dude was talking to him, and Kurt was just, after a while you could see it's like he's waiting for this to end. And so eventually, because the dude was like, "Oh man, you're best in the world," and Kurt was like, "No, hold on now, and so finally I think Kurt was just like, "All right, I've had enough of this." And like, he just, he didn't do anything rude. He just kind of walked off to what he was doing. So very interesting there. He went on to say about being an introvert, he said, I'd rather be hated for who I am than loved for who I am not. The intuitive part of his personality, known for his unique and often surreal ideas. He displayed a high level of intuition, which helped him create music that was deeply emotional and innovative. He had a strong sense of vision, and he often resisted industry pressure to change his artistic approach. He seemed more focused on abstract ideas and emotions. I get the abstract ideas part. Rather than details or practicalities, which allowed him to tap into his feelings of angst and alienation that resonated with his listeners. And so obviously through his music, you guys that listen to it will probably hear him talking about this other world, this other reality that detaches me and allows me to say, "I'm talking. This is what I'm trying to say. You misunderstand me. If I tell you something on an interview or whatever, you're going to misunderstand me. Let me say it in this song." A lot of artists do that, but some more than others. The feelings part of his personality, he was highly empathetic and sensitive. I could say he's sensitive. Both, I didn't see any empathy in some of this stuff. I haven't watched all this stuff yet, so I'll probably see some empathy. Both the struggles of others and his own inner turmoil were at the focus. He openly expresses discomfort with social injustices that would track, especially regarding issues of race, gender, and class. His music reflected his emotional depth, and lyrics explored feelings of pain, alienation, and vulnerability. And as he put it, I don't have the passion anymore. And so remember, it's better to burn out than to fade away. Perceptive, Cobain was often described as spontaneous or open-minded. I can see the spontaneity. Open-minded, preferring a flexible approach to life rather than, oh, he was very spontaneous. Rather than a strict plans or routines, he feels restricted. Yeah, he would feel very restricted. And he would like, I think his kind of spontaneity from what I was seeing was he would he'd be talking and he just like to pick up weird stuff. Hey, and you'll see in one, it's like, hey, where's that cookie? And you know, he was very restrictive. He would feel very restrictive by, you know, people like me or people. And when I say people like me, I mean people who might have on be professionals of some sort, or be like, hey, you should go out and get a real job. You kids are always causing trouble. Like, you know, maybe white collar workers or something like that. He might feel restricted by the man, you know. So I think that was his issue, that he just, you can see it all over his face, man. He didn't like it. Yeah, didn't like routines. This perceptive nature allowed him to stay adaptable and curious, crucial for his which was crucial for his creative process. However, it also contributed to his struggles with structure and responsibility. Had some questions around responsibility and pressures of fame, because the structure and responsibility is like he's going to want to back away from fame, at least in that regard. And then we're going into fatherhood and we're going into marriage, that responsibility and that structure, struggling with those things. How are you going to deal when you're pushing away from fame? And what it really comes down to is expectation. The next thing is, you know, he probably would have had a problem with is, oh, you're such a great father. I don't want to be, I'm just trying to raise my daughter. Oh, you're such a great and loving husband. I make mistakes, because it's like, people on the outside might see the best in him, but people on the but himself on the inside, and maybe he's done something to his spouse or his kid or somebody in his family that he's not proud of, and he's very cerebral about that. And so it will frustrate him to know that I continue to fall short, and he's probably very hard on himself about that. I continue to fall short. And so while you guys try to praise me and say I'm the voice of this generation, I'm this, I'm that, I only see mistakes. And that he's not the only person that feels that way. I think a lot of people who are in the industry, and not even in the industry, like just as normal people, right? People like Kurt, who have that sort of personality and struggle with meeting expectations, or struggle not meeting expectations. I can meet the expectations, but you're going to begin to expect this of me moving forward to try to make it seem like this is who I am. And Kurt didn't want to say this is who I am moving forward. He couldn't step into that. He found it hard to step into that because there was a personal rejection of it. And, you know, sometimes even if there's not a personal rejection of it, maybe you want to be famous, but it's just like, I don't want you guys to try to make me a hero. I'm not a hero. Stop saying that about me. So I think that was something that he struggled with. And I think his passing for him was a way to say, maybe it's not how we thought about it, but it was a way for him to say, I'm just backing away. I don't encourage it. I'm just saying, I think what he was trying to say was, this is just me backing away from all the stuff that you guys, because you guys continue to flood me and it's just getting worse. I just want to get away from all of it. If I can just, because honestly, you lay down at night and think about that stuff, man. That stuff is heavy on you. And so, people are, it's an anxiety, that you try to get away from. And so if we can sum everything up, his personality was characterized by introspection, deep emotional sensitivity, and a strong sense of idealism and creative approach to life, which played a significant role in shaping both his artistry and his struggles. His desire for authenticity and resistance to conform to mainstream expectations ultimately made him powerful yet troubled figure in music. I will be back with this. This was just an introduction. I will be back with more interview analysis on Kurt. Stick around till the next video. Take it easy.